Oi! Hoje vamos começar a jogar Tangle Tower. Que, pra quem conhece, é a continuação do primeiro jogo que eu joguei nesse canal. Quer dizer, tá certo. Tecnicamente tá certo. Que inclusive é o primeiro vídeo do canal que também é o meu face reveal. Que era da época que eu usava um notebook que tinha, né, câmera própria. Não era tão bom, mas de qualquer forma. Vamos começar?
Ready, Sally?
Rimor, I've been standing here for 7.5 minutes.
Just checking.
Do you have the map?
Yeah, but it's basically blank. Did you read the case file? What do you think?
I'm not sure yet. It's really not a lot to go on. Did you read it?
Yeah, I'll read it on the way to the crime scene.
Bora lá. Deixa eu aumentar o som, diminuir um pouquinho o som da música, pra não ficar afogando tanto a dublagem, porque a dublagem é boa. Uma coisa que vocês vão notar... eu tenho que, né, dizer isso. Eu joguei esse jogo há muito tempo atrás, mas eu não lembro de praticamente nada. Eu só lembro o culpado, que tecnicamente é mais importante, mas... eu não lembro mais de nenhum detalhe, e, né, tipo, da investigação em si. E, né, o objetivo não é a parte mais importante, é como você investiga até chegar lá. Então eu vou rejogar, já que eu não lembro de nada. E, bom... o ruim do primeiro vídeo de Detective Grimoire é que a qualidade dele é bem questionável. Porque eu usava o microfone do meu headset, que era terrível. Hoje eu uso um lapela. E talvez, eventualmente, eu tô torcendo pra receber logo um microfone melhor ainda. Porque, né, áudio é uma das coisas mais importantes. E...
So, who do you think did it?
Sally, you know full well we haven't met a single suspect yet. We haven't even been to the crime scene.
o jogo já tem dublagem, então não vou precisar dublar.
Still, I reckon I've got it all worked out.
Claro. E uma coisa que vocês obviamente devem ter percebido, né? Acho que todo mundo aqui tem um QI alto pra perceber que essa mina aqui é a mesma mina lojista do primeiro jogo. É óbvio quando você olha. Nem é como se tivesse tido um drástico redesign. Porque eu lembro de ter jogado... Mano, eu acho que na real eu joguei Detective Grimoire depois de jogar Tangle Tower. Isso há quanto tempo eu joguei Tangle Tower. E eu fiquei me perguntando, mano, essa mina aqui nesse jogo, quem é ela no primeiro, tá ligado? Aí no primeiro o Grimoire investiga sozinho. Aí depois eu fui ver o nome. Ela é a Sally, que é a mina da loja do primeiro jogo. É muito diferente, mas vamos nessa. É só um mind blow que eu tive, isso que eu queria ter. Bora começar logo, tá. O dossiê. Dossiê. Tem um mapa? Tá, é Tangle Tower. Uma pequena pintura em um pedaço de papel. Algumas anotações foram feitas no verso. Atualmente é chamada de Tangle Tower, mas é na realidade um par de torres conectadas por uma mansão na base. É cercada por um lago circular. A água possui uma mistura incomum de cores. O lago é margeado por barrancos pálidos e íngremes. São inclinados e lisos demais para se escalar. Tangle Tower é atualmente casa tanto da família Fellow quanto da família Pointer. E o dossiê do caso. Vítima de assassinato. Freya Fellow, 19 anos. Morreu enquanto pintava um retrato de Flora Fellow, 58. Local, Torre da Flora. Flora estava presente, visto que servia de modelo para o retrato. Freya Fellow foi encontrada de barriga para cima com uma única perfuração em seu peito. Não foi encontrada a arma do crime na cena do crime, mas a pessoa na pintura inacabada de Freya segura uma faca. A cor vermelha sobre a faca não é tinta. Foi descoberto que era sangue. Na própria pintura? Ok. E o mapa aqui é diferente. É, aqui, justo. Jardim.
What?
Hawk, bear,
Right,
Calma,
a hawk bear lizard. What animal
Que bicho
is
é esse?
that?
hawk, bear, lizard.
Eu vejo o Hawk e mais ou menos vejo o Bear, mas onde é que tem um Lizard?
Right, of course. A hawk bear lizard.
Gaviursalango, caralho, que tradução incrível.
Spooky. What do you think it's for?
I think it's to scare away detectives.
Is it working?
No.
Ah, mano, esse jogo é muito bom.
It's a stone carving. Wonder how it got cracked.
I think it's supposed to look like that. It's an egg.
It's a statue of some hideous, scaly, bipedal fish monster
Playing a harp.
playing a harp. Hang on a second.
Ih!
This isn't just a regular statue, is it?
Something tells me we're not gonna solve this just yet.
Aqui.
Let's come back later. It must do something.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Ok, estátua com harpa. Uma velha e desgastada estátua de uma criatura anfíbia segurando uma grande harpa. Símbolos estão gravados em cada um dos 4 segmentos em coluna da harpa. Ok, tem um
It's
negócio
full of the
aqui
same
na água.
weird water that was in the lake.
Any fish in there?
Not a single one. Although there is something in there.
It's a cassette tape. Or it
Uma fita
used to
cassete.
be.
Fita danificada. A fita cassete foi danificada por água. A tinta no rótulo está borrada e ilegível. Ok.
It's a bandstand.
Bit small for a bandstand.
Um coreto.
It's a one-man bandstand.
It's quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to say, too quiet?
It's not. It's an appropriate amount of quiet.
Eu lembro que eu gostava muito do diálogo desse jogo. E né, dá pra ver o porquê. Não sei, eu sou o único que acha que tô achando legal. O que eu lembro é que esse jogo é muito bom. É uma enorme evolução em relação ao primeiro. A arte é mais clean, é mais bonita, as animações são muito boas, vocês vão ver, vocês vão ver. Tá, deixa eu ver. Mas
Little
gaiola.
bird feeders.
How do you know they're for birds?
Ah, sei lá.
What?
Oh.
Ah,
There's an O on the floor.
tem um no chão.
Oh yeah. Tangle tour.
Twir. Oh.
What?
Oh.
Tangle.
Twir.
Que isso?
Is that an envelope?
It's been opened, but the letter's still in there. Let's read it.
Isn't that an invasion of someone's privacy?
No, definitely.
Carta aberta. O envelope foi aberto. Apenas uma folha de papel dentro. A combinação está na outra página. Quando tiver decorado, destrua o papel. Eu não concordo com seus motivos. Você não vai encontrar nada lá embaixo. Ixi. Quem é esse
Do you
brother?
think he'll start to move if we try to go inside?
No, I think he'll just silently judge us. Should we ring the doorbell?
Why would we not?
Literalmente uma doorbell, que é um sino de porta.
It's a little melody.
Uma musiquinha que estava destacada em azul.
A path leading towards the stone square.
Detalhe.
There's a heart engraved in the tree. I didn't know people actually did that.
PPFF.
Ok. Eu não conheço ninguém ainda pra saber de quem são essas iniciais, mas Freya Fellow. Freya Fellow pode ser. Calma, o FF é um PF.
Ah, there's a heart. I didn't know people...
PPFF.
Ah, não, é PP. Ah, não, FF, tá certo. Ela só falou invertido. O que tá embaixo é PP. Em cima que é FF. Tá, pode ser a Freya Fellow.
Don't think it's locked.
Oh, that means we can just walk straight in, right?
I'm pretty sure that's the rule, yeah.
Calma,
Let's
tem...
head to the crime scene first. It's
Okay.
at the top of the west tower, I think.
Mano, eu provavelmente não vou comentar muito, hein? Os próprios personagens já conversam bastante. F.
A big letter F.
Of course.
Ah, deve ser a casa da Torre dos Fellow.
Who doesn't hang a giant banner of their initial in the lobby of their mansion?
What is that?
I think it's a family tree.
Nu. Por que tinha que escrever de uma forma tão difícil? Tá. Tinha o Lord Fellow? Lord Fellow? Ah, Lord Fellow e Lady Fellow. Que aí... O Lord Fellow... Com a Selena Stone Top... Nasceu a Felicia Fellow. E o Lord Fellow e a Lady Fellow... tiveram o Flint Fellow e o Felix Fellow. Tá, isso não deve botar muito prova?
Pretty.
Ok.
Lord Remington.
He sounds important. Lady Remington.
I think I have one of those in my bathroom.
Como assim? Tem isso no banho?
Flora Remington.
I think she's mentioned in our case file.
A Flora... Tava sendo pintada, né?
Felicia Fellow.
FF. Mas tá com esse Damian Dusk.
Freya's mother.
Do you think she still lives here?
Tem Pop Pointer e Penelope Pointer. Tem muitos PPs. Pandora Pointer, Percival Pointer, Jesus. E tem muitos FF também. As iniciais não são bastante.
Buck Brackley.
What a name.
Do you think he still lives here? Selena Stonetop.
No family line. Apparently, she just appeared out of nowhere.
Brotou imagino que sejam casos de família.
Fiona Fellow. Dead center. She must be important.
She's half Fellow and half Remington.
Do you think she still lives here? Freya Fellow.
The murder victim.
She's barely related to the main family at all.
Pois é. Aí, ó, dá pra notar que cada família tem meio que um brasão. Quem é de fora só tem um escudo cinza normal. E aí tem as três famílias. Quando casa a pessoa entre duas famílias diferentes, mistura os emblemas. Aqui tem essa coisa verde de fundo e o papelzinho amarelo por cima. Aqui tem o negócio verde de fundo e o papelzinho rosa por cima. Aqui tem o escudo com o papel rosa por baixo. Detalhe interessante de se notar.
Big glass tube filled with water.
There are weeds in there. And sand.
It's an aquarium?
Could be. Except there's nothing living in it anymore. This one has a big P.
That's probably important.
Não.
How very perceptive of you.
Sally, check those plants.
Mano, os
for
caras mandaram
clues.
bem traduzir as piadas, velho. Caralho.
Is soil a clue?
Tá, ok, velho.
Let's head to the crime scene first. It's at the top of the west tower, I think.
Ah, tá. Tem que ir direto pra cima. Olha.
Let's take a look at that painting first. There it is. The unfinished portrait of Flora Fellow.
So, what? Freya was killed halfway through painting it.
Looks that way.
Droga, olhar pra cena me lembrou um pouquinho do que aconteceu, mas eu não vou falar nada. Não vou falar nada. Não vou spoiler, não vou spoiler. Retrato pintado. Freya não pode terminar a pintura, já que morreu durante o processo. Não pôde. Flora parece segurar uma faca. Foi descoberto que a substância vermelha na ponta era sangue.
I wonder if all of Freya's paintings are this creepy. Maybe it's just because she never got to finish it.
There's something wrong with the crime scene, and something really weird about the murder weapon.
We didn't find a murder weapon.
Calma. Tem algo muito estranho sobre como a Freya foi morta. E calma. Flora Fellow está segurando uma faca com a ponta coberta de sangue. Por que isso aqui ô Freya? Isso não faz sentido, mas é isso que eu... Acho que esse... É porque é foda, eu sei...
Flora Fellow is holding a knife tipped with blood because it stabbed Freya. Almost. Maybe just change one thing.
Mas foi retirado da cena?
Flora Fellow is holding a knife tipped with blood, but it was removed from the scene. No.
Não, droga. Quando tava com isso daqui, ele mandou mudar só uma coisa. Sinceramente, calma. A pintura tá envolvida de algum jeito no ataque da Freya. Ah, o retrato da Flora?
Flora's
É isso?
portrait is holding a
Fez um
knife
pulinho,
tipped
acho que
with
sim.
blood because it stabbed Freya.
Que lógica é essa? Isso não...
What?
Weird, huh?
You think Freya was stabbed by a painting. Not by the woman from the painting, but by the painting itself.
Mm-hmm. Freya was standing right up by the canvas when she was killed. There's blood on the knife. It's the murder weapon.
Right.
Gênio.
But it's not actually a knife. It can't stab.
See any other knives around here? Case closed.
The case is not closed. And even if you were right, where does that leave us? A painting can't be a murder suspect.
Uma pintura inacabada. Tá, vamos falar com ela.
Flora Fellow?
Muito legal essa animação.
Hey, sorry to barge in. I'm sure you're still in some distress.
We need to ask you a few questions, I'm afraid.
Did you witness the murder, Flora?
Nothing. What do we do?
Not sure. She's entitled to her silence, I suppose.
For now.
Me diga sobre você mesmo.
Is there anything you'd like...
Oh, droga.
I don't really know anything.
I think that's the way she will just have.
Yeah.
Calma aí que eu cliquei sem querer.
Is there anything you'd like to tell us, Flora? I don't really know anything about you at all.
I think that's the way she likes it. We'll just have to ask other people about her.
Yeah, okay.
Ontem.
Freya was painting your portrait yesterday. Is that right?
Was this something you had planned with her ahead of time?
Was there something special about yesterday?
Did you talk to Freya at all while she was painting you?
She's not going to answer us, is she?
Nope. But at least we can say we tried.
Depoimento.
Flora, you were definitely in the room at the time of the murder. Surely you must have seen something? Can you tell me anything about what happened to Freya? She's acting pretty suspicious if you ask me.
I don't know. Maybe she really doesn't know anything.
How is that possible?
Ok.
Anything we should know? Any hobbies? Besides staring out the window? Were you close with Freya? How are you two related? Did you kill Freya?
Grimoire!
What? I don't even think she's listening.
Oh, she's listening.
Ok. Tá. Calma. Ele fez uma pergunta que eu tô curioso agora. Qual a relação da
What
Flora
is that?
I think it's a family trait.
com a Freya? Não. Aqui, Flora. São relativamente distantes. Mas bom. Agora a gente pode ir para os outros lugares, eu imagino. Quem é você?
Whoa. Nice cape.
You're not fellows or pointers. I'm sure I shall immediately regret asking. But who are you, and what is your business here?
I'm Sally, and this is my sidekick, Grimoire.
A private detective, Grimoire.
Really? You're a detective. If this is a joke, it's not a good one.
Who are you, anyway?
Private Detective Hawkshaw.
Oh, nice. Hawkshaw's a cooler name than Grimoire. Maybe I'll become her sidekick.
You're not on the Freya fellow case, too, are you?
That is classified information between myself and my client. Clearly, this is something which eludes you. But a real detective refrains from handing out informations to persons unknown.
Oh, right.
Now, if you would, I have work to do. It's
Okay.
not in my interest to discuss personal details.
Even if you're one of the suspects in a murder?
Very well. Let us make a small exception. Ask.
Oh, what are you doing here?
I'm on a case at the behest of my client.
How long have you been at Tangle Tower?
133 hours.
Caralho.
5.5 days.
Caralho.
Who are you working for?
I am not at liberty to answer that. Now, I shall permit you one more question.
What crime are
How'd you get that scar? It's cool.
You really think so? As it happens, I completed an examination of Flora's room on the morning before the murder. I've been investigating every single room at Tangle Tower. Hers was one of the last on my list.
Did you find anything unusual?
Nothing but a thin layer of dust and an atmosphere of somber melancholy.
Was Flora in there at the time?
She spent the duration of my search staring up at the sky, out the open window. Didn't say a word, although I'm told this is the expected behavior.
What did you do after that?
I spent the early evening searching the library. It took longer than it should have. Fiona leaves that room in a permanent state of disarray.
Fiona was in the library too?
I expected her to make an appearance, but she did not.
And you stayed in the library the rest of the day?
Not quite. Towards the
Depoimento.
early evening, my examination of the library was unexpectedly disrupted. Sounds of running, wailing, shouting from several floors above. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared. He emerged from the Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the fellow staircase. Our eyes met. He was breathless. Something had caused him great alarm. He told me to stay out of the way. I consented. I decided to return to my office in the stone square. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. She was clutching the banister of the Pointer staircase with an apprehensive manner. She wished to know where Professor Pointer had gone. I told her what had transpired. Then, she too crossed the hall and disappeared up the fellow staircase. More so than at any moment prior, I felt like quite an intruder in the house. I took my leave, out towards the stone square. The grounds were silent. There were no signs of human life. Even the greenhouse was without its typical inhabitant. I noted that he, too, must be entangled in whatever was transpiring in Fellow Tower. An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance. He spoke to me of what had occurred. His report was as clumsy and cumbersome as the man giving it.
Did he seem upset?
He was rattled. That much was clear, but sorrowful, mournful, I cannot say.
Ok, o que você tem a dizer sobre a Flora?
Quite the stoic statue, isn't she? I can only dream of being as cold and indifferent as Flora Fellow.
You think she's hiding something?
Perhaps. She has some strange habits. I heard she barely sleeps, an hour here or there, sporadically. Spends the rest of her time staring up at the sky. 314 cases solved.
Caralho!
314. Freya Fellow is of great interest to me. I perceived her to be the most intelligent individual here at Tangle Tower. Within a day, she had identified for whom I was working and for what I was searching. I didn't know how she did it. I was impressed. I regret that I did not question her more thoroughly when I had the opportunity.
You couldn't have known she was about to be killed, though.
I have only myself to blame for failing to perceive the signs.
What signs?
I do not wish to do your job for you, detective.
Não, vai, me diz, me conta.
Tangle
Também
Tower.
posso
No idea
dar
why they
todos os
insist on calling
itens.
it that. It's not even a tower. It's little more than a pair of turrets stuck on either side of a mansion.
Have you searched the whole place?
I believe so. Why?
He wants to know if you found any secret rooms.
Huh. I'm afraid the residents of Tangle Tower are far too ordinary for anything like that. I was disappointed too. You truly consider this a case file?
What's wrong with it?
No organization, no system.
That's my style. I like seeing everything laid out at once. Yeah, it helps me think.
How quaint. Have you deciphered the meaning of those 4 symbols on the harp?
We're working on it.
That's a no, then. Where'd you dig that up?
It wasn't buried. It was underwater.
Someone trying to conceal evidence, perhaps? Conveniently left anonymous. It's useless until you can prove to whom it concerns. Can you do that?
No?
No. Makes quite an impression, doesn't it? Although I can't imagine why she painted Flora wielding a knife.
You didn't see a knife anywhere in Flora's room, did you?
I did not. I conclude whatever stabbed Freya must have been brought into the room from outside. Unless, of course, it was the painting
Eu não
itself.
sou louco.
Surely you don't believe in that kind of thing.
A detective's job is to examine every
Eu
avenue
tava
of
certo, eu
thinking.
tava certo. Ok. Fiz tudo que dava pra fazer.
A giant glowing gemstone full of plants.
AKA a greenhouse. It's a sea serpent, turned into stone by a wizard.
Ah, if you say so. What happened to its head?
Beheaded by the same wizard.
Is that a clock?
If it is, it's a clock with 4 faces.
Ooh.
I'm guessing it doesn't tell the time.
So what does it do?
Rode os botões até que as 4 mãos estejam na posição certa. Saquei.
No.
Oh, droga.
So
Tá.
moving any of the hands turns the adjacent hands in the opposite direction. It's like cogs on a machine.
Ok, calma. Ok. Tá. Eu entendi. Você tá vendo isso aqui forma um 12? Então, esse aqui tem que estar aqui. Mas aí, isso daqui, que é um 9, tem que estar aqui. Isso aqui, que é um 6, tem que estar aqui. Isso aqui, que é um 3, tem que estar aqui. E assim por diante. Pertinho. Tá. Calma, tem uma lógica pra isso. Tem uma lógica pra isso. Eu preciso girar isso aqui pra cá. Droga. A gente puxa pra cá, que eu faço isso. Tão perto, só faltou 6. Eu só reverti pro droga. Pera, eu preciso deixar isso de uma forma que faz... Tá, eu tenho que deixar isso aqui no lugar do 9. Usando isso daqui. E eu faço isso. GG. GG. Pera, eu sou burrinho. Esse aqui é o... Esse aqui é o 9, esse aqui é o 6. Ah, meu Deus. Calma. Bota isso aqui aqui, isso aqui aqui. E agora só falta os 6 aqui nesse canto. Que eu boto assim. Faço. Eu tô confundindo de novo, velho. Eu tô... Ai, meu Deus. Só falta o 6. Foi. 3, 9, 12, 6. Obrigado, amém, meu Deus.
I'm impressed.
Eu tô abrindo o bagulho do lado do cara, ele não se
What's
importa.
in the box?
A little tool thing? Looks like a telescope, but I'm not actually sure what it is.
Ok, pequena lente. Uma pequena ferramenta de latão com uma lente de vidro curvada. Possui um parafuso na base. Ok. Sabe o que é isso?
Belongs to you, Hawkshaw?
Correct.
And, what is it?
It's my handheld microscope for up-close investigation work.
What do you magnify with it?
Trace particles, dust, oils, clothing fibers.
Have you used it here at Tangle Tower?
I have. I used it to examine the greenhouse only 2 days ago.
What were you looking for?
That is between myself and my client.
Ah, ok. E eu peguei, passei a mão, foda-se, é meu agora. Trouxa, perdeu.
There's a metal plaque on the bench.
Is there a message engraved on it?
I think there was at one point, but someone scratched it off. A pointless little stone tower.
I don't know. Might be a good hiding place.
Want to play hide and seek?
I could be persuaded. It's a big stone dais.
Biggest one I've ever seen. First one, too.
Tentando ver a
More
água.
of that weird lake water.
Really makes me wonder how this structure is supported. Yeah, are we on an island or what?
Beats me.
Aqui. Tem acesso à estufa.
That's a handsome beetle. Looks like he might have magic powers.
This one's in a little pot.
Okay, that is definitely not edible.
It looks like a gemstone, don't you think?
Vaso de fruta. Uma fruta envasada com casca dura, lembrando uma pedra preciosa. A terra no vaso possui uma incomum cor azul.
Is that fruit? It's shaped like fruit.
Too shiny to be fruit. I think it's glowing a little too.
Safe to eat, do you think?
I'm gonna say no. All the flowers here look kind of poisonous.
Can flowers be poisonous?
Meu Deus, agora que eu vi. Caralho, não tinha notado.
Anything can be poisonous.
Good to know.
Ó o brother aqui escondido, mano.
Sally, don't move. We're being watched.
Yeah, I see him. He's a little too big to hide in the bushes. Is anyone going to say anything? Or shall we just stand around staring at each other?
Right, sorry. Sorry.
That's better. I'm Sally. And the guy hiding behind me is Detective Grimoire. Who are you?
Fitzfellow, the gardener.
Mm-hmm. And why are you so tall?
Que pergunta é essa?
No,
You work here as the gardener.
I don't get paid to do it. It's just my area of interest.
What's the deal with the plants? They're all kinda weird.
Right. Did you see the lake?
That giant green and purple lake surrounding the entire house? Yeah, I clocked it.
The color is just a byproduct.
Of what? Poison?
It's not poisonous. Not to you.
What's this got to do with the plants?
The water controls all life, just like anywhere else on the planet. Clouds form, rain falls. The water grows the plants, animals eat the plants. Anything you've perceived as an irregularity is simply a result of this hydrological cycle.
Could you say that again, but like, condense it as if you were talking to a slightly stupid person?
Our lake water causes the unpredictable alteration of DNA, sometimes.
Alteration? Like mutation?
That'd be the official term. For us, it's normal. Just nature.
And you're the local expert on all this stuff?
No, I'm just the gardener. I was in my greenhouse, watering and weeding.
Sounds exciting.
Was anyone else around?
Not at first. Penelope came in a little later. She likes looking at the flowers, I think.
Did you speak to each other?
A little, not too much. We both left the greenhouse in the early afternoon. I went up to my room. Then I came back outside to weed the main gardens. Didn't see anyone else. After that, I went up to the garden outside my room.
And?
Let me guess. Watering and weeding.
Right.
Did anything happen to you yesterday, Fitz?
I was up in the rooftop garden. It was quiet. And then, it wasn't. I can't describe it. Could have been a scream, but it didn't sound human. We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
We?
Poppy was with me. Did I not mention that? Flora's room was locked. That's normal. She usually locks it from the inside. I knocked on the door and shouted. Nobody responded. We became concerned.
You kicked the door down?
I did. Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back. Flora was there too, but I barely noticed her at first. Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too. Penelope arrived shortly after that, with Felix in tow. I thought that was odd. You don't normally see the two of them together. Felix took charge. There was nothing else I could do to help. I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything. I found her pacing back and forth around the stone square. When I approached her, she snapped at me. I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long. But when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
É interessante que quando eles fazem quando eles falam algo mais interessante, tipo, quando ele falou que eu esqueci o nome das pessoas, mas tipo, ele falou que uma mina e um brother chegaram juntos. Aí ele falou, o que eu achei estranho, porque você não vê eles juntos muitas vezes. E aí o próximo diálogo demora um pouquinho mais pra tocar, pra dar um pouco mais de ênfase no que ele acabou de dizer, pra tentar fazer isso grudar na sua cabeça. Que, né? Interessante.
I like Flora. I hope she's all right.
Do you think she had anything to do with the murder?
There's no way. She wouldn't willingly cause any additional suffering for anyone. She questioned me.
About what?
My work, the plants, bit of everything.
Did she search the greenhouse?
No, she didn't.
You sure? Maybe she did it when you weren't in there.
Ela falou pra gente que ela
No, she hasn't touched it.
How can you tell?
Trust me, I can tell. She was always kind to me. She'd come into the greenhouse when I was working, sometimes by herself, sometimes with Poppy. I think they were just bored at first. Eventually, they started asking questions.
About what?
Poppy wanted to learn about flowers. Freya, she used to ask me about the insects.
Insects?
One of my jobs is to protect plants from things that might eat them. Freya brought me this little glass box, leaves and twigs inside. She'd say, put all the troublemakers in there. Every day I'd put a handful of beetles and other things in the box. Then she'd come along and take it away. I didn't really understand her, but she was always kind.
Have you met this guy, Fitz? Shifty eyes, doesn't say a lot. Totally suspicious, if you ask me.
That's me.
Yeah, it was a joke. I was joking.
Oh, I see.
Fitz's room is unlocked. It's up in the fellow tower.
This could be interesting.
Mais tarde, calma. Tem mais coisa
A
aqui
little
que isso.
chart of, actually, I have no idea what it's about.
Zika. É ingrediente alquímico, né? Isso aqui é ouro, eu acho. E é só isso que eu lembro. Obrigado
What do you make of it?
por ouvir o meu TED Talk.
Not a whole lot.
Tem alguma coisa suspeita neste cenário, além do cara na escuridão ali atrás.
Tools.
Ah,
Used
meu.
by a gardener for gardening.
Justo. Tá parando no quarto dele. Então vamos seguir essa linha lógica. Não.
An empty glass and an empty plate.
Looking at it is making me want to cry.
Why?
I don't know.
It's a little handmade card. Someone's drawn a heart on the front. Inside it says, to Fitz, from PP.
That poor plant.
Looks pretty healthy to me.
Healthy, but sad. I think it would rather be outside.
There's someone outside the
No.
window.
Something outside the window. It's probably just a rock.
You sure?
Certeza.
It's locked, but it leads outside.
I thought we were halfway up a tower.
We are.
What's that thing by the handle?
Outro puzzle.
Nothing.
The
Still,
tiles have all got that same sun symbol on them.
those moon symbols in the slots. Are they connected?
Maybe they're connected. but also not connected.
Nope. It's not.
Maybe the information we need isn't here.
So where
Okay,
is it?
just
Somewhere else. Let's come back once we know what to do. Hello.
Not hidden very well, is it?
Doesn't need to be. It's locked. It's a combination lock. Sort of.
Meu Deus, calma. Calma, onde esse azul encaixa? Esse azul encaixa aqui. Ok, o azul encaixa aqui. E o verde ali embaixo. Pera. Pera, acho que eles encaixam de várias formas diferentes. Não. Ah, não, pera. O, azul, o verde também encaixa nesse azul aqui. E aí isso aqui encaixa aqui. Eu não sei muito bem o que isso significa. Tem essa folha de seta. Mas é verde, meio amarelo, azul, verde. Acho que é um verde mais claro, inclusive, mas... Eu acho que eu não tenho informação pra resolver isso. Porque eu posso formar... Essas coisas se encaixam de várias formas diferentes, mas, tipo... Tá, eu tenho essa folha gota. Mas... Eu tô vendo ela em todas as cores ao mesmo tempo. Não faz muito sentido. Calma, se... Eu posso formar essa... A seta ali... Esse emblema... Tá, acho que eu não tenho...
Come back later.
Eu não acho que eu tenho as informações necessárias pra resolver aquilo ali.
Quit sulking. Not every room is going to be full of clues.
Vamos pro quarto do lado, então.
Puffer fish?
Yes. It's also a lamp, for some reason. A little hand-painted statue.
How can you tell it's hand-painted?
Well, the paints are right there on the desk. Also, I mean, no offense, but you can just tell.
Miniatura pintada. Um entalhe em madeira de um homem com uma espada. A miniatura foi pintada à mão, mas a tinta não foi aplicada com habilidade. Amarela, azul, preta e branca foram as tintas encontradas por perto. Amarelo, azul... Tá, a calça e o cabelo é verde, que né, você consegue misturando azul e amarelo. A pele é branca, imagino. E tem uns detalhes em preto.
The entire room is made of wood.
Oh, it's not just made of wood. I think it's the actual hull of a ship.
Ah. Tem uns símbolos aqui.
A real treasure chest.
How do you know there's treasure in there?
Why else would it be locked? Plus, there's a treasure map hanging directly above it.
Pera.
What's the deal?
Not sure.
Oh,
We should check that treasure map too.
Não. Use o mapa do tesouro para descobrir a combinação do baú. Ah! Tá, eu tô num X que quando eu olho na distância eu vejo uma pedra na direita, um monstro marinho na esquerda, uma árvore com um pássaro em cima. Pedra, monstro, árvore, não tem pássaro. Também não. Também não. Também não. Esse aqui? Não. Não? Esse que parece, mas... né? O mais correto. Não tem nenhuma linha que tem árvore e pássaro. Tem isso aqui, tecnicamente, mas, tipo, eu não sei o quanto a distância importa. Esse aqui não é... Não tem nenhum barco aparecendo, só tem a pedra. Parece que o bicho tá mais perto que a pedra. Mano, esse aqui, se eu olho pra cá, estaria aparecendo isso aqui na distância, não tem árvore reto, não tem. Aqui tem a árvore e o negócio, só que supostamente era pra ter um bicho perto e só tem a pedra da direita. E eu acho que essa ilha também estaria aparecendo, então não acho que é esse daqui. Esse daqui, olhando pra baixo, tem árvore, mas não tem monstro. Pra cá só tem árvore e nada mais. Esse daqui. Olhando pra cá teria dois monstros. Olhando pra cá a pedra estaria na esquerda, né? A árvore não estaria no meio. Olhando pra cá a árvore teria uma árvore na esquerda, então não é isso. Não é esse daqui também. Esse daqui, olhando pra baixo teria um barco. Olhando pra cá teria um barco na direita. Olhando pra cá teria um pássaro logo na frente, nenhum nada que precisa. Olhando pra cá, achei. Tem o monstro na esquerda, a pedra na direita e os pássaros e a árvore logo em cima. Aqui, achei. H6 Oeste.
That's done it.
Vambora.
Neat.
Puzzle legal.
What was in the box?
More wooden models. These are a little different to the one on the desk.
Miniatura da freia, de um pássaro, da Flora. Quem é esse brother? Acho que não conhecemos ele ainda. Uma miniatura que lembra uma criança com cabelos verdes, uma miniatura que lembra uma mulher de cabelos grisalhos, uma miniatura que lembra um pássaro vermelho e branco, uma miniatura que lembra um homem de ombros largos. As miniaturas de madeira foram pintadas à mão. A tinta não foi aplicada com cuidado. Um pote de tinta vermelha e um pincel estão jogados por perto. O pincel possui um pouco de tinta vermelha ressecada. Ok.
The entire room is made of wood.
Oh, it's not just, it's the actual. It's a massive conch shell. Do you think there's a little crab living inside?
I hope so.
Tomara que tenha. Acho que,
A hammock.
acho que não é bom.
It's kind of worn out.
I would politely describe it as lived in.
Quadro
A
aqui
pencil
embaixo.
drawing of a mountain on a moonlit night.
Mood.
Umas máscaras.
An old wooden mask.
Probably cursed.
Será que é a máscara do O Máscara?
It's a drinking horn.
Is it full of ale? Or mead, maybe?
Right now, it's just full of dust.
Oh. A map with a dotted line and an X marked on it.
That's a very boring way to describe a treasure map. Shelf junk.
Ok, bora falar com o cara.
Sir? Can you hear me? I'm Private Detective Grimoire. I have some questions for you.
Grimoire. Good mysterious name. I'd rather like it. Felix Fellow at your beck and call.
And, this is my colleague, Sally.
Yeah, that's a perfectly good name as well.
Thanks.
If you would, Mr. Fellow, we really need to ask you about the murder.
I must say I'm rather jealous of you two.
Oh yeah? Why's that?
Out here solving mysteries, exploring new places, uncovering secret rooms, hidden treasures. That's what life is all about.
Secret rooms?
Generally speaking, you know, that sort of thing.
Me diga sobre si
So,
mesmo.
Felix, what exactly do you, do?
Is it not obvious? I'm an explorer. Explorer / treasure hunter. Yes, well, best in the world.
We're talking like curse statues, spike pits.
It's a little more sophisticated than that. But I've certainly seen my share of danger, if that's what you're asking.
And, if I may ask, when did you retire?
You listen here. I may be between ventures right now, but it's simply not in my nature to stay in one place for too long. I go wherever the winds of destiny take me.
Don't you live here with your wife and daughter?
Yes, well, the Fellow family has certain loyalties, and with Flora the way she is...
Nothing wrong with raising a family, Mr. Fellow.
Don't misunderstand me. Fiona and Flora are my entire world. They are the greatest treasure of all.
Uh-huh.
Que rolou ontem?
Why on earth would you want to know about that?
The murder of Freya Fellow. The reason we're here?
Ah, right. Nasty business. Very unfortunate. I regret that I can't be of any help, but I wish you all the best in your investigation.
Hear that, Grimoire? We're done here. Let's go.
It's a simple question, Felix. Well, I'm sure you're up to it.
Well, there's not much to tell. Mostly, I was in my room by myself, working on Flora's, working on a project.
Your room is quite close to Flora's tower. You didn't hear anything unusual?
What qualifies as unusual?
What have you got?
It was dusk. A feeling lingered in the air. Malevolent, perhaps. Uncertain, as life itself.
Abridged version, please.
Right. Fine. I heard someone heading down the stairs, just outside my room. The footsteps were calm, orderly, so I thought nothing of it. Shortly afterward, I heard a second set of footsteps, going the same way. This time I could tell just from the sound that something was wrong. So I looked out into the hallway. I got a glimpse of Poppy disappearing down the staircase to the floor below. Didn't know what to make of it, to be honest. I thought perhaps she'd had a disagreement with Fitz, as I know those two are close. So I looked into his room, just in case, but it was empty, as was the garden beyond his window. Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer, so I escorted her. We went into Flora's room. Poor Freya was laying on the floor. Fiona, Poppy, Fitz, and Pointer were there already. Flora, too, of course.
Pera,
Soon
caralho.
enough, everyone else made their excuses and left.
Including you?
Not I. I stayed. Flora needed.
Calma, ele viu a Poppy indo pra baixo, provavelmente junto com o jardineiro, o Fitz. E então ele foi checar o quarto do Fitz e checou o jardim depois do quarto dele. E quando ele voltou, acho que dá tempo, tipo, ele voltou e já tava lá a Poppy e o Fitz de novo. Acho que dava tempo, da forma que ele falou, tipo, ele ouviu, checou o corredor e foi checar o quarto do Fitz e checou o jardim, voltou, eles já tinham voltado. Acho que faz sentido,
Fitz?
Você acha do Fitz?
I don't trust him. He's slippery. Never commits to anything. Brain like an onion.
An onion?
Did you two have an argument?
No, but my daughter doesn't like him at all. And I trust Fiona's judgment entirely. She's a very vigilant young woman. Uncommonly skilled as an artist, but Freya was so much more than her talent. She helped me get started with my own painting, you know. It taught me what she knew about wood carving, too. Tremendous patience. She was ever so good with dear Flora.
Freya and Flora were close?
Oh, yes, especially recently.
How are you related to Freya?
Somewhat distantly, as it happens. My father, Lord Fellow, was her grandfather. Technically, that makes her a fellow. Let's just say there was some discussion over whether she ought to carry the name at all. There's a family tree in the Grand Hall. You should take a look at it.
What about her inheritance?
Freya's parents died when she was around 3 years old. She came to live here shortly afterwards.
Nobody left her a thing?
I'm afraid not. She had no formal claim over anything at Tangle Tower.
Pô, então ela não tinha nada. Por que alguém mataria ela? Ela parecia ser mó fora da família, tipo, sei lá, ela parecia estar lá só existindo. Humildemente existindo.
Quite the character, eh? A fellow member of the Order of the Crimson Cloak.
Is that a real thing?
No, I just meant because we both wear, you know, red capes of a sort.
Has she questioned you yet?
If you call that questioning, she seemed bored by everything I had to say. I heard on the grapevine, supposedly Hawkshaw is searching for some rare item, something called the Golden Beetle. Honestly, it's probably a bunch of sensationalist rubbish.
You reckon?
Quite sure. There is no treasure called the Golden Beetle.
How do you know?
Because I would have heard of it.
Então essa detetive tá atrás de besouro
Dearest
dourado.
Flora, a remarkable woman. Yes, been married over 20 years now.
You two still get on?
Of
Que isso?
course. What a question.
She hasn't gone quiet on you.
Eu acho que eles traduziram errado ou eu tô louco? Tipo, ele mandou um é claro e traduziram pra é claro que não.
It's true she has an independent streak. She's had it her whole life. She's the youngest of 3. Always something of a lone wolf, you know? Just the way she is.
Lone wolf is putting it lightly. She doesn't seem to want to talk to anyone.
She just likes time to herself, away from the company of other humans.
Other humans?
Well, yes, other people, you know.
Ah, não acho tão estranho esse. Apesar que, né? Pareceu estranho.
You're the one currently basking in his presence. You tell me.
Let's move on.
Charming, isn't it? Yes. Built by the Remington family originally.
Pelo que eu me lembro, acho que é meio necessário mostrar todos os itens pra todos os personagens pra ter todas as pistas necessárias pra resolver o caso. Então, eu vou ter que fazer isso. Eu espero que o diálogo seja interessante bastante para
Dear
manter...
Flora's father and his
Vou se manter entretido.
associates.
But now it's owned by you? By the Fellow family?
The Fellows and the Pointers have both come to claim a certain degree of ownership.
And who named it Tangle Tower?
Flora chose the name.
What does it mean?
I think it was her intention that it mean nothing at all. Something of a fresh start.
From what?
This really isn't for me to say, but she had some kind of disagreement with her siblings. After they moved away, Flora changed the name of the house. I think perhaps she hoped it would make them feel unwelcome, yes, less likely to come back.
That's kind of extreme.
Yes, it is rather, isn't it?
Eu me sinto confortável jogando esse jogo. Não me sinto. Eu sinto que eu posso ficar chill enquanto os personagens falam, porque eu não tenho que dublar nem nada. Já tá traduzido, suave. Ficar aqui curtindo. Só é estranho que, né? Eu jogar significaria que eu deveria dar muito mais meu primeiro. Sei lá, os caras estão falando.
What's this?
It's my case
Acho
file.
meio estranho.
It's how I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Eu fico confortável de não ter que falar muito, mas também é meio estranho não ter que falar muito porque, né, eu tô fazendo live.
You mean to say you're bound by the limits of what's written in this little document? Sounds dreadful.
I found it comforting.
Rather ugly, isn't it, as far as statues go? Years of wind and rain have not been kind to it either.
Do you know what it is? The creature, I mean.
It's connected to the Remington family history in some way, but I can't recall. That looks like it might belong to Poppy.
Huh.
I'm as confused as you are. It would have been a beautiful painting, as rather a shame Freya was unable to finish it.
Nothing about it seems strange to you.
Well, all these modern paintings are slightly strange, aren't they? The emotion of the piece taking over from, say, anatomical accuracy.
What about the knife in Flora's hand?
A knife? That's what you see?
You don't?
Well, as I was saying, Freya's artistic approach distorts certain shapes. Hard to say exactly what we're looking at. Why don't you ask Fiona about that one? Looks like her area of expertise. That looks like it might belong to Fitz. I've been carving for a couple of years now. I was hopeless when I started, but it didn't take me long to master it, as you can see.
Claro.
Do you paint them yourself too?
I do indeed. Freya kindly taught me the basics. Nowadays, I can make just about anything I can imagine. Of course, this particular model is a self-portrait based on hard fact.
Hard fact, huh? So, you own a sword, Felix?
Of course. I own a great many. But my weapons are stored well away from Tangle Tower. Safety first and all that. You found it. What do you think, huh? I had to rush the final touches a little bit. It turned out all right, though.
What's it supposed to be?
It's Flora, of course, surrounded by all her favorite people.
Peraí, então aquele de barba azul é pra ser tu? Ok.
A little hand-painted well, so, I mean, no offense, but you can just tell.
Ok. Acho que eu não mostrei os itens que eu tenho pro Fitz.
Nice painting. Gives you a pretty good idea of the layout.
The lake looks like it forms a perfect circle around the island.
It might seem strange to you, but nature is quite capable of producing perfectly geometric forms.
And those mountain cliff things around the outside?
We don't know much about them. They're unscalable. Not even Freya could have gone up there.
What's that?
This painting, it's speculative. There are no photographs from this angle as far as I know.
So Freya just made it up.
Let's call it an informed estimation. Who gave you that information?
Well...
We don't actually know who it was. We were contacted anonymously.
I see. And what happens if the person who contacted you turns out to be the murderer?
I never thought about that.
Honestly, that would be kind of fun. Like a twist, you know?
It's of no interest to me, but I overheard Poppy and Freya talking about it once.
What were they saying?
They were arguing about something, but I can't remember the details. That looks like it might belong to Poppy.
Ok.
How odd.
Ok.
What do you think that is in Flora's hand?
I don't know. It does look like a knife, but Flora wasn't holding anything at all when I saw her, after the murder. But there's something bothering me. Something else.
What?
When we went into Flora's room, she wasn't standing in this position.
Well, she probably would have moved around a little bit by then.
She wasn't standing at all. She was kneeling on the floor.
You ever seen this before, Fitz?
No, but I don't normally go into Fifi's room.
That's not where we found it.
Oh, I just thought it looks like it belongs to her. This is a good example of how things work. I mix that soil here in the greenhouse. It's made with water from the lake.
And it makes the fruit grow all shiny and gem-stony.
Sometimes. You never really know what's going to happen.
And what do you do with this shiny and edible fruit?
You look at it. Felix made that? Huh. That's quite sweet, really.
Ok. Tá, eu tenho as fitas. Quer dizer, a fita misteriosa que pertence a Poppy. Então vamos ver nesse outro quarto aqui. Ah, esse é o quarto da Freya.
Not the kind of lamp I choose for my bedroom, but fair enough.
It's cool. Looks like old mining equipment or something.
Porra, é literalmente a lâmpada fazendo barulho das backroom lá, velho. Horrível.
Freya's bear.
Looks pretty depressed.
He's had a rough couple of days.
It's a fish, I think?
I think it looks more like a whale.
Fine, it's a whale.
Could also be a shark.
Não, literalmente tá saindo... Tá saindo esguicho da cabeça, é uma baleia. Que
That
isso?
painting is really something.
Why would you want it looming over your bed like that?
Maybe Freya enjoyed the atmosphere it creates.
The atmosphere of chaos and oppression?
Hang on. There's a smaller version down by the floor.
It's a photograph.
Foto da pintura. Uma pequena fotografia da pintura abstrata da Freya. Um pedaço de fita adesiva está grudado nela. Linhas foram desenhadas com tinta preta ao longo das margens. Ah, tem uma lupa. Legal. Que
It's a
isso?
little wooden box for paintbrushes.
To the casual observer, maybe. They're not real paintbrushes. Looks like they're part of some kind of lock mechanism.
Tá. Coloque os papéis na ordem correta e organize o papel para encontrar uma pista. Tá, gente. Ixi. Calma, acho que isso aqui é aqui. Calma, algo que encaixa. Pera, foda. Meu Deus. Eu não sei por onde começar. O que encaixa no que aqui? Calma, isso aqui acho que encaixa aqui? Ok, isso aqui parece correto. Aqui parece correto. Aqui parece correto. Aqui parece correto. Aqui parece correto, aqui parece correto e aqui parece correto. Tá. O primeiro é pequeno e laranja. Ah, posso mudar a posição também. Tá, acho que isso aqui laranja é... Tá, tamanho, cor da ponta, formato do pincel, cor do corpo. Então esse aqui é pequeno. Pequeno laranja. Esse aqui é um rosa, é um desses. Tem que ter um azul aqui. Aqui tem que ser um dos maiores. Aqui tem que ser verde. Ah, esse daqui tem que estar aqui. Porque ele é o único além desse que é forçado a estar aqui. Calma, é forçado? É, forçado, porque ele é o único pequeno laranja. Então esse aqui é tipo, tem 1, esse aqui tem 3, esse aqui tem 3 de altura. Então, por esse aqui, esse azul ser forçado a estar aqui, quer dizer que esse é o azul forçado a estar aqui. Ou seja, esse é o único outro que tem que estar aqui, porque ele é o único que tem esse daqui, também tem o corpo rosa. O que significa que esse verde já tá correto. O que significa... Calma, acho que as coisas já tá tudo certo. Nossa.
Neat.
Caralho, foi... Tipo, eu segui a lógica, mas eu meio que organizei isso aí tipo, de primeiro pro acidente.
What was in the box?
Just a photograph. Well, most of a photograph.
Foto rasgada. É uma foto de duas jovens, uma com cabelo vermelho, outra com cabelo verde. A foto tem um grande pedaço faltando, parece ter sido rasgada. Ah, acho que isso é... Quer dizer...
It's Freya's bed. A little bit messy.
It's a perfectly healthy amount of messy.
Vamos aqui pra baixo.
Sure, why not build a science lab in the corner of the library?
The search for new knowledge, the archiving of old knowledge. It's downright poetic. It's an illustrated book about birds.
It's been left open. Looks like somebody was halfway through reading it.
Or it was left open for us to find.
Ever so slightly unnerving?
Livro sobre pássaros. O borra-tinta é um pássaro bastante inteligente com um longo tempo de vida, mesmo para místidos aviários. Outros pássaros costumam ser agressivos com ele, e o borra-tinta vive a maior parte do tempo sozinho. Possui hábitos alimentares bem particulares, normalmente comendo apenas sementes de tantum amica. Imagem. Isso daqui.
A chalkboard?
Is this a library or a classroom?
Não.
Math equations.
Don't look at them for too long. You'll give yourself a headache.
Any idea what this means?
Not a clue.
Isso me lembra um negócio que tá na estufa. Isso aqui não é ouro?
I'm not sure I learned anything from that. Books about ancient history, I think.
These books are ancient history. I think they'd crumble into dust if I tried to pick them up.
Good excuse.
Thanks. Books about geography.
Skip. Books about insects.
Well, theoretically. There's not a single book on that shelf.
Huh.
Huh.
Books about space.
They're relatively untouched. Sure, why not?
The art's downright poetic.
Books about birds.
The shelves are about half empty.
Oh, so you're a the shelves are half empty kind of person.
You knew this already.
Books about nature? Sure, why
The
not?
art's downright poetic.
Que esse
Is that
tracinho?
a snow globe?
Of sorts. Hey, look at that. It's a model of Tangle Tower.
Eu tentei balançar.
There's the lake and those weird mountains. What are you thinking?
That would make an amazing souvenir.
It's a what do you
That
think?
would make an what's in those bottles?
I'm not sure. Soil samples?
Vamos falar com essa menina.
Curious. I would expect bacteria of that nature to thrive in these conditions.
Excuse me.
Taking all the environmental factors into account, there must be something I am still missing.
May I talk to you? Miss?
She knows we're here. She just doesn't care.
I am a detective, and I need to talk.
Correction. You do not need to talk to me,
Oh no? How come?
because I am not a suspect. I am completely innocent of any and all crimes.
Thanks for letting me know.
Speaking of which, you have now been at Tangle Tower for over 23 minutes. Surely you have already reached a sturdy hypothesis.
A hypothesis? About the murder?
Yeah, come on, Grimoire, hurry up.
My apologies. Unfortunately, protocol dictates I must at least meet all the suspects. And that includes you. So, could you tell me your name?
Fifi Fellow, microbiologist, inventor, innovator.
Átila, biólogo, pesquisador e modelo nas horas vagas.
You will need to be more specific. Oneself cannot be summarized in a single response without doing one a great disservice.
So true.
Well, first of all, you're a fellow. So does that make you the daughter of...
Correct. My father and mother are named Flora and Felix, but you need not question either of them. It will only waste valuable time. Neither of them are capable of murder.
Thanks for the tip.
Fifi, you said you were a micro... something or other?
Microbiologist, but it is an insignificant label. My studies cannot be categorized in any one recognized field.
What made you want to become a scientist in the first place?
I harbor an intrinsic fascination with the microscopic. I constructed my first one at age 10.
Constructed a microscope?
Correct.
And what's that thing on your head? Did you make that too?
My eyesight began to deteriorate when I turned 12. Not satisfied with the eyeglasses prescribed to me, I designed this custom lens instead. It automatically adjusts based on the surrounding light conditions.
Does it glow red when you get angry?
No, but that would be most amusing.
Eu esqueci, eu queria falar alguma coisa, eu esqueci.
What can you tell me about the murder?
What can you tell me about... Wait, that's what I'm supposed to ask you.
Yes, however, you were too slow.
You fancy yourself a detective too, Fifi?
I just need to know what happened.
Me too. So talk.
Fine. I knew ahead of time that Freya was going to be busy with her painting all day, so I had planned to spend the afternoon with Poppy. I was in the library all morning preparing the equipment for an experiment, only to find out that Poppy had made other plans and she was in fact planning to ignore me completely.
Oh.
So what did you do instead?
I locked myself in my room and cried.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Why?
I don't know, it just sounds kind of sad.
It is not unusual.
Oh. Good.
Ui. Ah, lembrei. Queria, né? Isso aqui.
This belongs to Professor Pointer, does it not?
No, I don't think so.
Who else would own such a pointless little telescope?
It's a telescope.
Oh yes, it has a telescopic lens. It could only be used for looking at things that are far away.
Huh? Huh?
Name, Hawkshaw. Age, unknown. Profession, private detective. Likes, quote, being left alone. Dislikes, quote, being constantly badgered by a weirdo nerd with a clipboard. Name, Flora Fellow. Age, 44. Profession, unknown. Likes, unknown. Dislikes, unknown.
Isn't she your mother? How do you not
That-
know anything?
I believe other people may have discovered methods of reaching her, but I have little capacity for interpreting nonverbal communication.
And how long has Flora been non-verbal?
She has always been quiet, willing to speak when necessary, but not more.
So what happened to make her stop talking entirely?
She suffered a great loss, something she has been unable to move beyond. Name, Felix Fellow. Age, 53. Profession, none. Likes, collecting objects of negligible monetary value and assigning them personal value. Dislikes, the inescapable realities of human existence. Notes, Felix is my father and legal guardian.
And, is he a good dad?
I have no point of comparison, but I would say no.
No? Why not?
You asked me a binary question. Do not get upset that I provided one of the two possible answers.
What makes him a bad father, Fifi?
He has trouble expressing his emotions, and something of a willful detachment from reality.
Huh. Just like you, then.
Grimoire.
No, he is quite correct. Name, Fiona Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, amateur microbiologist. Likes, the meaningful archiving of information. Dislikes, the superfluous window dressing accompanying the majority of human contact. Notes, kindly disregard the polysyllabic form of my given forename and refer to me instead as Fifi.
How come you prefer Fifi?
How come you prefer Grimoire?
How are you related to the other fellows?
Fitz is my cousin. His father, a man named Flint, was my uncle.
Was?
I do not know if Flint is alive or not. He left Tangle Tower a long time ago.
And what about Freya? How are you related to her?
We share exactly one grandparent. Name, Freya Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, artist. Deceased. Understand this. Most people find me difficult. They exhibit a noticeable degree of discomfort when talking to me. There it is. Freya, who had a way of being an exception to any given rule, was not at all like this. She is very important, and I will not rest until I understand what has happened to her.
Did you spend a lot of time with Freya recently?
I will say this. In the past year, Freya became, 1, increasingly independent, and 2, increasingly isolated.
Do you know why?
I do not. If you are looking for a speculative, empathetic opinion, try asking Poppy instead.
The three of you are friends.
We are of a similar age, and all highly gifted. 1 scientist, 1 artist, and 1 musician.
Sounds like quite a team.
Name, Fitzfellow. Age, 24. Profession, cryptobotanist. Likes soil, dislikes electric lights.
Hang on. Cryptobotanist? I thought he was just a gardener.
That may well be his preferred label. Mine, however, is more accurate.
Do you and Fitz not see eye to eye, Fifi?
We do not.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. He's well over 6 foot and you've got to be just under 5.
So what's your problem with him?
Exactly 1 week ago, I witnessed him sneaking up Pointer Tower. He was making every effort to avoid detection.
So?
He was also carrying a knife. I was in my room. The lights were off and the door was locked. Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me. I opened the door. Poppy came into my room. Her makeup was leaking. She told me, Freya was dead. I did not believe it. I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face. She insisted that we go up to Flora's tower. We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs. When I saw Freya lying on the floor, I was completely and utterly devastated. Then, I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting. Poppy and I took the sample back downstairs to the library. We performed a test and found out that it was, in fact, blood.
You performed that scientific test immediately, even though you were feeling so upset?
Of course. Why would one affect the other?
Justo.
What is your opinion of Tangle Tower?
Oh, it's impressive. Elaborate gardens, unique architecture.
Must be worth a fortune.
Why do you ask, Fifi?
I am the heir of the Fellow family and the Remington family. This makes me the sole beneficiary of Tangle Tower.
That's quite an inheritance.
They can't make you do anything, Fifi. If you don't want the house, just tell them. Or just sell it. Who cares?
You sound like her.
Ai.
I require facts. What do you know?
Well, we know Freya was stabbed with a knife, and then she fell.
Correction. She was stabbed with something. There was no knife found at the crime scene.
Apart from the one in the painting.
Which, as a mere abstract representation, does not count. Nobody has ever been stabbed by the concept of a knife.
Nunca ouvi falar que palavras machucam.
The statue itself does not interest me, but I do wish to know about those symbols on the harp. Have you deciphered their meaning yet?
We're working on it.
We are?
Tamo,
This
tamo.
belongs to Poppy. In fact, she owns a number of cassette tapes.
What happened to it, though?
It has been left underwater for an extended period of time.
Right, but why?
I do not know why. Curious. Freya is normally highly skilled at capturing someone's likeness, but in this painting, she has accidentally made Flora look quite young.
I think she was just being kind.
Why is that kind? Anyway, I'm far more interested in what Flora is holding. I performed the test on the red paint myself. I discovered that it was in fact not paint, but blood.
What made you want to test it in the first place?
It was Poppy. She told me she thought the painting looked like a bloody knife. I told her not to be ridiculous. My mother owns no such knife. But then I noticed that the color was slightly too dark, and the substance itself was overly viscous.
You noticed that just from looking at it once?
Of course.
Claro, ué.
The fruit here has a unique chemical makeup. It makes them completely pointless. Unless you wish to cut it down and sell it as a precious stone.
It's not edible.
Depends.
On what?
On the structural integrity of your teeth. A wooden carving of my father.
Você pode comer, mas
made
só uma
by
vez.
my father. Although, now that I look at it, I do not understand how he was able to paint the red parts without any red paint.
Nossa, verdade, literalmente eu fui analisar as tintas que ele usou e eu não percebi que não tinha tinta vermelha e ele pintou a capa vermelha.
It is a model of Freya.
Ah não, tava guardado,
Father.
tava guardado dentro. Deixa pra lá, faz sentido. Tava guardado dentro da caixa.
A model of Flora, you mean?
And a man with a beard. And a little red and white creature.
Why would my father make a model of Freya? I believe Freya was attempting to communicate something through this painting.
Any idea what it was?
I am not the person to ask. All I see is a blood-red mountain with angry storm clouds brewing above it. As such, I cannot ascertain any meaning from it whatsoever.
Só eu que acho essa foto, essa pintura muito parecida com a detetive lá.
This photograph is my favorite photograph.
So, why'd you rip it in half?
That was not me. Besides, it was not a half that was ripped off. It was only a third.
Do you know who was reading this book?
It belongs to my mother.
And she left it in the library?
No, my mother has not been in the library for some time.
Inclusive, esse é um dos detalhes que eu lembrei de quando eu tava na cena do crime.
Do you know who was reading this
E eu
book?
acho que já...
And she left it?
No.
Calma aí, eu quero analisar ele. Eu já apresentei tudo, né? Ok, vamos sair.
Fifi's bedroom should be unlocked now.
Can't wait.
Vambora. Mas cadê? O que tá no quadro não é uma faca. É essa pena. Vem aqui. Que é uma coisa... Esse ponto acho que já, né? Deduzível. Mas não é uma coisa que eu percebi, então não sei quando seria uma boa hora de trazer à tona essa dedução. Mas bom.
Fifi's got something pinned up here.
What is all this?
Que isso? Ela anotou a gente? Eu tô relacionado com a Sally. A Pop tá relacionada com o Fitz. A Hawkshaw tá relacionado com o Pointer. Essa mina também tá relacionada com o Pointer. E o Felix tá relacionado com a Flora.
Maybe. Did you ever try that? Maybe it works.
Is Fifi trying to solve the mystery with math equations?
Maybe. Did you ever try that? Maybe it works.
Who's that?
Not sure.
That's you, Sally.
What? I do not look like that, do I?
Is that supposed to be me? Why do I look so angry?
That's just the face you make when you're thinking. It does make you wonder, though. When did Fifi draw all this? It's Detective Hawkshaw.
I think that's supposed to be Felix.
Looks like Fitz.
Who's that?
Not sure.
Ok, acho que eu...
Did you notice who isn't on here?
Opa. A Freya?
Freya?
Mm-hmm. And
Ah, é a própria
Fifi herself.
Droga.
Crystal chandeliers. Extra fancy.
I don't know. They just seem old-fashioned to me. Plus, they're kinda dusty.
A pretty ornate window with a great view of the lake.
We're supposed to be looking for clues, not assessing the real estate value.
And over here, you'll see the owners use sheets of paper to block out all that unnecessary natural light. A simple trick, but it really transforms the space. That's a whole lot of books.
Boxes of stuff.
Com trecos.
It's a magnifying glass. A big one.
How come you don't have one of those?
Why? Because I'm a detective? Should I start smoking a pipe too?
You couldn't pull off a pipe.
What's that big book on the desk?
Looks like something Fifi's been writing.
Is it a clue?
I hope not. It's just a bunch of notes about her microbiology experiments.
Tá, que
It
isso?
looks like a microscope. A big one.
Can I touch it? I'm not sure this is a microscope.
Horizontalmente, deslize 4 lentes de aumento para as posições corretas. Ah, acho que eu lembro o que é isso, né? Não lembro como é que resolve isso. Acho que tem que fazer, usando as lentes, tem que dar zoom nas coisas que tem aqui pra formar o formato da chave. Tá. Isso aqui dá zoom. Então eu acho que eu quero isso aqui. Esse aqui também dá zoom. Eu acho que eu quero isso aqui. Isso aqui diminui. Calma, isso aqui deixa... Não, diminui. Ah, tem as... Os símbolos ajudam. Tem mais e menos. Tá, acho que eu posso... Tipo, o que é a menor coisa daqui? Diria que é tipo isso? Não funciona tão bem. Assim parece encaixar perfeitamente. Isso aqui parece estar do mesmo tamanho, então isso que não ajuda. Isso aqui é só um leve zoom. Tem isso aqui que reduz. Isso aqui dá um baita zoom, mas não é o bastante. Acho que eu preciso reduzir isso daqui. E aí eu aumento só uma vez? Não. Parece que é perfeito assim. Então esse mais... eu não sei. Assim? Oh, parece perfeito.
That's the one.
Aí,
Hey,
cara.
not bad. Sounds like it unlocked.
Yeah, it's built on top of a little metal box. There's a book in here.
Diário secreto. Um livro bastante usado, parecendo um diário. Encontra-se trancado com um dispositivo estranho de metal. Acho que é meio problemático, mas bora tentar levar isso pra frente. Oh, roubei teu diário aí.
A book.
Um livro.
My book.
And what's in it?
Pages.
Não mentiu. Não mentiu. Bora vir pra cá agora.
Oh, whatever it is, it's playing a little trumpet.
Well, it is the music room. He's gotta practice.
What's with all the broken glass?
Ih! Estátua com corneta. Uma estátua brilhante de uma criatura segurando uma enorme corneta. Há uma grande rachadura por todo lado da corneta da estátua. Dentro da corneta e no chão em volta jazem diversos fragmentos de vidro quebrado.
Are they paper lanterns?
Whatever they are, I like them. It's like a little parade of floating spirits.
Sheet music. It's handwritten.
That's a lot of notes. Looks pretty difficult.
Probably while they're on the floor. Oh, whatever it is, it's playing a little
Well, again,
What's with all the broken glass? One old wooden bookcase.
Yep.
25 dry old books.
Mm-hmm.
4 lit candles.
Yeah.
Am I the only one seeing the problem? There's a faded mural on the wall.
When I was a kid, I never knew the difference between a mural and a mosaic.
You still don't know, do you?
No.
It's one of those big pianos with the open lids.
Don't touch it.
Why not?
Might be haunted. Are you a ghost?
Sally! That's rude. Unless she is a ghost.
It may come as a disappointment, but I am alive.
Ah,
That makes you a suspect, I'm afraid.
I know.
what's your name?
My name is Poppy. I'm a pointer. And a pianist.
We'll need to ask you a few questions about Freya.
I know.
Hey, you're pretty good.
All in the wrist. And 13 years of dedicated practice. I'm just me. There's nothing to know.
How are you related to the other pointers?
My father is Percival Pointer. The professor spends most of his time hidden away in his tower. Barely speaks to anyone these days. Especially not the fellows.
Do you get on with the fellows?
2 of them. Fifi and Freya are my closest friends. We all turned 19 last year.
Do people ever leave Tangle Tower? I don't mean to be rude. It's just, if you're 19...
You don't have to answer that, Poppy.
It's a fair question. I'd like to move away. Definitely. Fifi, Freya, and I would often talk about it, argue about it. Freya wanted to leave, but Fifi... things are more complicated for her.
What about now?
After what happened, I really don't want to stay here much longer. 3.5 hours of piano practice, soon as I wake up. Same as always.
3.5. Does that not hurt your hands?
Sure.
And you do this in the music room?
No, I prefer to practice in my room. When I make mistakes, I like to make them in private.
What did you do after that?
I was supposed to meet Fifi in the library, but I totally forgot. When I finally got down there, she'd already gone. I checked her bedroom, but it was locked.
Was Fifi not in there?
No idea. She keeps her door locked either way. So I went back upstairs and out into the moonlight garden.
The what?
The little garden on the roof outside my room.
Was it just you up there?
No. Fitz came outside after a while. His room's on the other side. He's been teaching me about flowers.
So, did you talk to him?
Not really.
You ignored each other.
I didn't say that. Fitz and I were up in the moonlight garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds. I've been trying to decide how to describe it, but I'm struggling. It was like something drilling into a piece of metal, but different. Worse. I was pretty sure it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there to check. Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. I knew Freya and Flora were both supposed to be in there, so I made Fitz kick down the door. I went inside. Freya was lying on the floor.
Flora was in the room too?
Yeah. I think she realized what had happened at the same moment I did. I didn't know what to do, so I ran downstairs to get Fifi. Her door was still locked, but I knocked and shouted at her. Eventually she let me in. The lights were off, but I could see she'd already been crying. I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry. First time I've ever seen her angry. I dragged her out into the hall. My father was there too.
Não mencionou o
for some
soco na
reason.
cara.
The 3 of us went back up to Flora's tower. Then Felix arrived. He had Penny with him. Fifi had this idea. She wanted to do some kind of scientific test. She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes. After she was done, she went back upstairs and I went back to my room.
That's it?
That's it.
Bom, acho que com das informações é justo assumir que ela, o Fitz e a Fifi não são culpados de jeito nenhum. Que, né, eles têm álibi.
Needless noise from tongues expel, unless within the mouth they dwell. The spoken word, unfit for dealing with the shifting form of feeling, stand unblinking in the face of taciturn and soundless space.
Nossa, eu não entendi nada.
Foregone drifter, holding fast, days as shadow seeker past, Is it bravery or surrender, accepting that your world will render nothing darker than the gloom some four walls make around a room? Between the lips a silver spoon, a story written all too soon, the chosen dwelling of her heart, unjustly chosen to depart. Lost her liberation lays in the center of a maze.
Muito legal essa forma. A Fifi e ela tem formas meio distintas, tipo. É bem diferente do resto. É interessante. Dá mais personalidade.
With surging
Ele é mais
tide,
dramático.
the waves are thrown, an entity of all its own. But on its surface you may see, reflected in the waters be, the orchestrator, pale and still, pulling strings, enacting will. Hard of head, but free of mind, unimprisoned, unconfined. With starry eyes, she sees beyond, behind our walls, beneath our pond. A soul untied, it's hers, it's free. Was then, is now, will ever be.
Mano, que a galera que traduziu esse jogo mandou bem pra caralho, velho.
Softly does the flower grow, all in time, and time is slow. Rest a seed within the earth, but do not rush its gentle birth. Hour by hour, day by day, tune your heart to nature's way. That's me. I'm on a list of murder suspects. Always thought that would be kinda cool, but it's just tedious.
Falls a little short, doesn't it?
So there are two families living in Tangle Tower?
Mm-hmm. 3 pointers and 5 fellows. 4 fellows.
What's the connection between them?
There isn't one. Not really. It was all built by the Remington family. Flora's a Remington, originally. So was Primrose, my mother. She married into the Pointers, and Flora married into the Fellows.
So the Fellows and the Pointers own the house now?
Flora owns the house. Depending on who you ask, that means her husband Felix owns it too.
What about your father?
His claim over the house kind of fell apart after my mother left.
Where's your mother now?
No idea. There's something I noticed about Freya's knife wound.
Hit me.
From what we could tell, the blade went in at an exact right angle, perpendicular to Freya's body. And there's only one small pool of blood. Nothing on Freya's hands, or anywhere else. The whole thing is just a little too peaceful.
What do you make of the statue?
I know that's the only harp in the whole of Tangle Tower. I've never actually seen a real one.
Maybe it's from before your time.
Oh, definitely. You see how old this statue is?
What about the symbols? One of them looks like piano keys.
Yeah, weird. This is mine.
Really?
No, well, yes, it was. I gave it to Freya about a year ago.
What was on it?
Nothing. It was blank. Freya said she wanted to record something.
Any idea how it ended up underwater?
Maybe someone wanted to destroy it, but got really lazy. Don't you think that's weird? That the letter isn't addressed to anyone? Or signed by anyone?
Someone's being deliberately secretive.
Or they're trying to manipulate you. When I first saw it, I thought it looked like Flora was holding a knife, with blood on the tip.
You don't think that anymore?
No, it was a stupid thing to say. The room was dark. I was in shock. I'm just an idiot.
But it was blood on the tip. If you hadn't said anything, maybe Fifi wouldn't have checked.
Exactly. It's stupid.
But we would have missed out on an important clue.
Is it a clue? Really? Tell me how it's a clue. Tell me how it helps. Nothing about the knife makes any sense. It's just freaking everyone out. Wish I'd never said anything. Did you find that in Fifi's room?
No. Should we have?
No, it's just... It looks like something she'd use, don't you think? Oh, you've been to the greenhouse? What did you think?
Impressive, I guess. But kind of unsettling, with Fitz lurking in the shadows the whole time.
Yeah, he does that. Whose paints are those?
They belong to Felix, I think.
Is that supposed to be Flora?
Possibly.
Oh, how nice. I think everybody sees something different.
Did Freya ever tell you what she saw in it?
Not exactly. She said something about it being from a recurring nightmare.
Sorry, but if it was from a nightmare, why would you paint it and leave it in front of your bed?
Maybe she wanted to take control of it. Giving something a physical form can make it easier to deal with. Well, sometimes.
This is a photo of Fifi and Freya, right?
Yeah,
How come you're not in it? You're friends with them too, aren't you?
I'm not really one for photographs.
Fifi looks like she really admires Freya.
Fifi's loyalty to Freya is unshakable. That belongs to Flora, I think. Is that Fifi's diary? I'm sure I've seen it in her room before.
That's where we found it.
Have you ever read it? Do you know what's written in there?
Nope. I'm sure she wouldn't appreciate me invading her privacy.
I thought you and Fifi were close friends.
Yeah, we are. It's just Fifi's gotten kinda impatient with me recently.
Do you know why?
I'm not sure.
I'm sure she'd tell you if you asked.
Oh, she would. She'd give it to me straight. Probably why I've been avoiding it. Don't look at me. I didn't break it.
Does anybody else use the music room?
Yes. I don't know who, but I can tell when somebody else has touched the piano.
Okay.
All right. Poppy's bedroom is unlocked.
I wonder what's in there. There's something about that diary we found in Fifi's room. Something suspicious.
Let's ask her about it.
A gente já não perguntou?
Is this your diary, Fifi? We found it in your bedroom.
Of course it is mine. Ridiculous question.
Why is it locked up like that?
You seriously require an explanation. Very well. A fairly common concept, the so-called secret diary, is favored in particular by girls between the ages of 10
So, there are secrets written in here?
and... This particular diary is unused.
It doesn't look unused.
É o diário de outra pessoa, é o diário da Fifi e ela escreveu sim nele. A Poppy falou.
It's Fifi's diary, and she has written in it.
I'm not sure about that.
Não.
Me neither.
This particular diary is unused.
It doesn't look unused.
Eu sou burro.
It's somebody else's diary.
How could you arrive at that conclusion? It is kept in my bedroom. It is mine.
We need a clue to compare with the diary. Something to prove who the original owner was.
Eu sou burro. Tá, tudo bem.
Let's take a closer look at this.
Esse caderno azul é a mesma coisa que o diário secreto, o que prova que pertence a
This
Freya.
blue book is the same thing as the secret diary, which proves it belonged to Freya.
You were hiding Freya's diary in your room, and you kept it locked, too.
Why would I do either of these things?
Assim, eu não tenho ideia. Quer dizer, né, a Pop falou que a Fifi é muito fiel à Freya. Achou que não queria que ninguém visse, não sabia sobre, sempre suspeitou de... Segredos particulares. Acho que é isso, né? Não sei quando, mas acho justo assumir que o diário... Que tipo, depois que a Freya morreu, ela foi e trancou o diário pra ninguém poder ver.
Fifi
Isso
didn't
mesmo.
want anyone to see personal secrets within Freya's diary.
Is this true, Fifi?
I know Freya was your friend, but if you're trying to hide something...
You did not know Freya, so this might be difficult to understand. She did her own thing, in her own way. By concealing Freya's written accounts, it is simply my intention to preserve her innocence.
Innocence?
Might be easier if you just let us read the diary, Fifi.
Very well. I will open it. However, as you read it, please remember, Freya was the most kind and the most wise person I have ever known.
Alright, Fifi unlocked the diary.
Finally. What's in there?
Está de volta em carne e osso agora. Será que fui eu? Será que eu deixei escapar? Talvez eu deva jogar fora aquele quadro. Garralma funciona. Coisinha impressionante. Tenho 2 agora. Preciso de mais 2. Encontrei meu caminho até o meio. Bastante simples comparado à harpa. Eu vi todos os 5. Com olhos rabiscados de preto. Apesar de tudo, eu ainda tenho uma promessa a cumprir. Farei meu melhor, ela precisa de companhia. Não sei se ajuda. Essa passagem menciona a harpa.
I'm still not sure.
Should we take another look?
Let's come back.
Não. Não tenho ideia do que significa. Tá, bora pro quarto dela. Que isso?
It's a metronome for keeping time.
It's ticking. Is it a bomb?
It's supposed to be ticking. Not sure what those symbols are, though.
Use os botões para rodar as maçanetas do metrônomo até o topo. Ah. Fácil.
I did it. What do I win?
Not bad. What happened?
Eu não expliquei qual era a lógica. Os botões era uma combinação de dois símbolos. Aí era só apertar os botões para fazer 2 ao mesmo tempo e aí foi simples.
Little hatch unlocked in the back.
Anything in there?
Mm-hmm. It's a photograph. Heart of a photograph.
Foto rasgada. A foto rasgada mostra uma jovem de cabelos loiros e roupa rosa. A menina da foto está usando uma toca-fitas rosa com fone de ouvido combinando. O resto da foto mostra Fifi e Freya. Estava escondido no quadro da Freya. Pois é.
It's an octopus.
No, it's not. It has 6 legs, not 8. Don't say it.
Sextopus.
That is the bed of a vampire.
I thought vampires slept in coffins.
This is a vampire who needs firm support for their lower back. Anything in the wardrobe?
Dresses mostly. I never realized there are so many shades of black.
Ah, yes, a giant symbol drawn in chalk on the floor. Always a good omen.
It's an eye. More handwritten sheet music.
Oh, thank goodness, there are 7 lit candles. Wouldn't want it to be dark in here. Various handmade posters.
What do you think those symbols mean?
Hopefully, nothing. Empty. There's a name for this kind of piano. You know, these ones that stand upright. A big glass door leads out into a garden.
There's a little mechanism by the handle.
Ah, pera. Ah, calma.
Something happened.
Ah, saquei. É a forma que tava as luas no quarto do Fitz.
That must be it. And the door's still locked.
I still feel like we made some sort of progress.
Será que agora a gente tem que ir no quarto do Fitz? E destravar o outro lado também?
It's locked.
I thought we were...
We are.
What's that thing by the handle?
It made a noise.
I guess that was right. Finally, it's open.
Whatever's on the other side better be worth it.
Vambora.
Giant stone frog. Love it.
Ah, he's got his tongue out like he's catching snowflakes.
Except those aren't snowflakes. They're feathers.
4 penas. As penas foram encontradas quase todas sobre a língua do sabão de pedra.
That's one big dragonfly.
Or one very small dragon. It's a rose bush, growing on a little patch of bluish soil. Apart from a couple of loose petals on one side, the whole thing looks very well cared for.
The roses are bright red, too.
Aren't roses normally that color?
Exactly.
Ah, a little...
It's making me sleepy.
Wonder how it's hooked up.
It's so relaxing. I might just stay here.
Oh, shall I go finish the investigation on my own?
That'd be great.
It's another little statue, doing a really bad job of hiding in the bushes.
He's playing a lute this time.
He's also wearing headphones.
Well, they're not part of the statue, and they're not headphones. They're earmuffs.
Estátua com alaude. Uma estátua levemente envelhecida de uma estranha criatura segurando um alaude. Par de abafadores de ouvido foi posto na cabeça da estátua.
A little pond.
It looks really, really deep, for some reason. See those metal bars around the edges, too?
Oh, yeah. What do you suppose they're for?
Nothing anymore. Looks like somebody broke them and then never bothered to fix it.
The door into Poppy's room.
So, only Poppy and Fitz can get into the garden?
Ah, I guess so. Trees. On a roof.
In a garden.
In a garden. On a roof. Careful, we're pretty high up.
Yeah, we're on a roof.
Isso é tudo que tem aqui? Bom. Tem mais 2 lugares pra checar.
Check out that butterfly.
Looks evil.
Wow, judgmental.
What's with those little windows down there?
I think they're there for draining rainwater.
Oh. My little writing desk. It's kinda cute.
There's nothing written in the book. although someone's torn a page out of the middle. They're bird cages, but the birds are coming and going freely.
Is that a metaphor?
Oh, it totally is.
I feel like I'm standing in a giant birdcage.
I don't like mirrors. They steal your soul.
How do you get your hair so symmetrical without using a mirror?
I do it by weight. I can feel if one side is heavier than the other.
Bird diagrams. Hand-painted.
They're beautiful. Someone really knows their stuff.
A rather magnificent bush. Somewhat cruelly confined to a stone pot.
There's a letter P carved into the side.
Oh, just beautiful. What is it?
Huh?
Sort of a delicate jade, but with a little seafoam green, is that right?
Sorry?
Your hair, dear! Which shade do you use? It's lovely! And that shape, you're really pushing the envelope.
Oh, thanks. I do what I can to offset Grimoire's beige on brown ensemble.
Detectives don't need to be brightly colored. We prefer to blend into the background.
Oh, you're the detective? Delightful. Penny Pointer, pleasure.
Is that short for Penelope?
Officially, yes, but I never can be bothered with all 4 syllables of it. Penelope sounds a little ostentatious coming out of the mouth, don't you think?
Sure. Yeah.
É tipo, eu que fico me perguntando se eu devia chamar as coisas de webtoon ou manhwa. Porque eu nem sei se tem uma diferença. Eu suponho que sim. Porque não, acho que não necessariamente todo manhwa é um webtoon e nem webtoon é manhwa. Mas eu sinto que é melhor falar manhwa porque é mais fácil de pronunciar, porque tem uma sílaba a menos e soa bem da língua, tá ligado? Tipo, tenta falar webtoon e ver o movimento que você tá fazendo com a sua boca. Webtoon. Tipo, você tá fazendo um monte de movimento diferentaço pra falar essa palavra inteira e ainda tem 3 sílabas. Manhwa é 2 sílabas e tudo que você faz meio que interconecta, tá ligado? Você manhwa. Sabe? Você não tem, tipo, parar o movimento da boca de fazer o an pra fazer um u, sabe? Se você entendeu, deixa o like, compartilha esse vídeo. Tô brincando. Sei lá, é um bagulho que eu não sei se eu saberia explicar bem. Quer dizer, eu acho que eu não expliquei bem. Depende de você, você acha que eu expliquei bem? Você entendeu?
20-something, Aquarius, love to travel, and nearly all of my friends are birds.
Travel. Where to?
Anywhere at all, as long as it has species worth studying. Ornithology, they call it. I call it the only thing I've ever been good at.
And have you studied the birds here at Tangle Tower?
But of course! Where else do you think I developed my love of the field? No matter where I go, I always find myself coming home to Tangle Tower.
Because of the birds.
Oh, no, because of him! Silly to admit, but I suppose I can't bear for us to be apart.
Who are you talking about?
Hmm? Oh, don't you know? My fiancé, dear Fitz.
Ah.
He's not really the traveling type, you see.
Fitz Fellow.
The very one.
You're engaged to a member of the Fellow family?
Eu gosto muito das penas no braço dela. Muito drip.
That's interesting.
I'm not especially interested in whatever tedious feuding goes on between our 2 families. Fitz and I find it much easier to stay out of it altogether. I awoke early and headed down into the greenhouse to see Fitz. He's always there, crack of dawn, every morning like clockwork.
How come?
It's where he's happiest. That and he has a great deal of work to do every day, watering, pruning, mulching, whatever that is.
Do you help him with the work in the greenhouse?
Oh, no. I wouldn't dream of it. I'd probably break something.
So, you stayed with Fitz the whole day?
No. In the early afternoon, he went back inside. Rather suddenly, as it happens.
Did he say why?
He didn't. Probably just a touch of heat stroke, the poor dear. He's more delicate than you'd think.
What did you do after that?
Let's see. I returned to the aviary to feed my birds.
And how many birds are you responsible for?
Officially 4, but in truth it's more like 400.
Can they not feed themselves?
Of course, and they often do. But I think they just like the company. As do I. Sometime in the evening, I left the aviary and headed back towards my room. But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. He was muttering something. Seemed a bit upset, the poor dear. I followed him down, but the grand hall was empty by the time I got there. Empty aside from Detective Hawkshaw, who was loitering over by the library. I don't know what it was, but she looked a little lost. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the fellow tower. I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path. For some reason, he was coming out of Fitz's bedroom. He looked rather lost, too. I told him I was looking for Uncle. He suggested we look up in Flora's tower room. We could see from the hallway. The door was off its hinges. I knew then something was terribly wrong. A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya. Uncle Pointer was there. Fitz, too, standing over in the corner with Fifi and Poppy.
What about Flora?
Of course, silent as ever. Uncle suggested we should leave. Give the others some space, you know. So he and I both returned to our rooms in Pointer Tower. A fellow bird enthusiast. She's quite the expert, truth be told. Studied them professionally at one point. I think her father taught her.
Are you friends with Flora?
A little bit.
A little bit friends.
She's one for the peace and quiet. I dare say I'm a little too loud for her.
I can see that.
I do admire her, though, really. Always felt like she could have done better than settle for Felix.
Ouch.
I said it. I must say, I really don't care for the den of self-delusion that he's retreated into. People are better off when they just let themselves be themselves. Between you and me, I think Felix is secretly rather miserable. She mostly ignores me, if I'm honest.
How come?
Well, we're not quite on the same intellectual level.
Oh. you don't need to.
No. It's quite all right. I'm comfortable with it. She's a most unsavory little... She was incredibly rude about my appearance.
Which part? The giant bird arms, or...
If I were her, I'd go easy on the judgment of others. I mean, look at her. She looks like the ghost of a scarecrow. I just wish Uncle Pointer would tell her to behave herself.
Professor Pointer? Why him?
Oh, it was Uncle that called her in. She's his responsibility. Did you not know that? She'd sit in the aviary, first thing in the morning, and paint the birds. Sometimes she'd ask me their names.
Freya was interested in studying bird species too?
No, just wanted to know their names. Isabelle, Clementine, Myrtle, Lysandre, Genevieve.
Got it, thanks.
For my 21st birthday, she gave me a framed painting. All the birds from a single spring, with their names written underneath. I can't begin to tell you how much I've treasured it.
Sounds like you two were close.
I feel like I always struggled to articulate my admiration for her, but she had a way of understanding unspoken things. Isn't he strapping?
He is big.
And so brooding.
Kinda sulky, yeah.
I can never tell what's going on in that beautiful head of his.
It just sounds like you don't know him very well.
I don't remember asking for your input. Oh, did you talk to Poppy already?
Yeah, a little bit.
And did you make any notes of what she told you?
Yeah, I did.
Lovely. Burn them. It'll all be lies.
Why would Poppy lie to us?
Because that's what she does. She's a snake. Looks like one, too.
Don't you think you're being a little unfair, Penny?
She started it. Oh, she's beautiful. Who is she? Wait. Is that me?
Ué. Tá bom. É isso aí.
You know, it's probably quite impressive. To a visitor, fresh eyes and all that.
Not to you?
Try living in it for 20 years. The sheen wears off. If it wasn't for my fits, I'd have little reason to stay.
What about inheritance? You're the next oldest pointer after your uncle, aren't you?
Well, thank you very much for phrasing it like that. But no, any money left in the Pointer family will pass down directly to Poppy.
Is that fair?
I couldn't care less, to be perfectly honest.
Não parece que ela se...
Finally, I get to see a detective's case file.
That's a very specific thing to be excited about.
Only last week I asked that miserable Hawkshaw woman if I could see her case notes.
I'm guessing she said no.
Would have been much more polite if she had just said no. Instead, she was quite rude to me. Accused me of being, what was it? A shallow sensationalist. I'm sure I've read about this creature somewhere. Don't remember anything about him playing the harp, though. Goodness me. Poppy really doesn't take care of her belongings, does she?
It wasn't in Poppy's room. It was in the little pond in the garden.
Exactly! Hardly the place for it. Hello. Who penned this juicy little number?
We don't know. It's not signed.
An anonymous letter? Classic clue. I doubt Freya intended it, but the overall effect is a little unsettling, don't you think? It's Flora that's the problem. She's an inescapably haunting presence, bless her. I don't know what that is. Ooh, delightful. More of a gemstone than a fruit, isn't it?
Inedible, too, I think.
Yes. At one point I thought Fitz might be growing them to sell them. But honestly, I think he just likes the way they look. A bit vain to carve wooden figurines of oneself, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken, that little red and white one is supposed to be a bird of some kind. I know a lot of people rather like this painting, but it's a little much for me. I find it overbearing. And for some reason, it makes me feel bad for Freya. I think she was more troubled than we knew. Freya was very talented, even at that age.
Do you know how old this photo is?
Not sure. Must be a couple of years at least. Sometime before Fiona settled on her current style. Somebody taking an interest in extinct animals.
Extinct?
Oh, yes. The book is very old. Most of the birds in it are long gone.
Well, what about this bird, though? The ink dip.
This one? Well, it was thought to be extinct for a long time. Then one was found here at Tangle Tower.
So it's not extinct.
You misunderstand. It was the last one.
Ah,
The very last.
Oh.
Ooh, a secret diary.
That's our guess, too.
Excellent. Haven't seen this one in a while. He lives in the music room, doesn't he?
Currently.
I can't decide what's worse. How she looks here, or how she looks now.
Do you know who this is? In the photo?
Oh, absolutely no idea.
huh.
Oh, there used to be all kinds of birds here at Tangle Tower. The most fascinating breeds, all totally unique.
Used to be? There are birds all over the place.
Most of them are rather ordinary, I'm afraid.
What happened to the non-ordinary ones?
That is a very good question. Lovely.
Aqui.
We can get into Penny's room now.
Now, like, right now?
Agora mesmo.
That's some flower.
There's something weird about it. It just feels out of place.
Vaso de flor. Uma flor colorida com um formato incomum. Parece bem saudável e bem cuidada. A terra no vaso parece fresca e úmida. Possui também uma incomum cor azul. Ok, tem a ver com fits, provavelmente, né?
Looks like nature invited itself in. Rude.
It's a birdhouse.
Are those real birds?
Ih,
Nope. They're wooden.
They're using up all the perches. What if a real bird wanted to use it?
eita. Tá, eu... Como assim? Ah, saquei, eu acho. Saquei? Eu... Calma. Não sei se saquei, na real. Tem pássaros. Eu posso
Reset
resetar.
puzzle?
Ah! Olhando pra esquerda, olhando pro meio, olhando pra direita. Agora a questão é... Qual a lógica desses que estão nos cantos? Quer dizer, né, nos cantos de cima e de baixo. Tentando achar uma lógica, né? Esse daqui era meio óbvio. Eu acho que, né, os que estão de olho aberto fazem parte, né, da mesma, esses que estão de olho fechado. Porque, né, tem 3 de olho abertaço, que, né, ficam aqui. 2 de olho meio aberto e 2 de olho fechado. Esse que tá com a boca muito aberta. Ah, quanto mais aberta a boca, mais pra direita. Então acho que já tá certo.
Nope.
Não.
There must be some logic to how the birds are arranged. Something to do with those white lines.
Será que é a mistura de verde e azul? Eu não sei o que verde e azul vira. Ciano? Ciano? Isso aqui? E aí... Será que as cores... Será que eu tô louco de, né, achar que a posição dos olhos tem a ver... Calma. Será que é só cores? Acho que se faz só cores, porque, né, acho que isso aqui é o mais importante, né? Tipo, esse aqui combinado com esse dá nesse... Esse claramente tá errado aqui do jeito que tá agora. Que combinação de cores... Ah, isso aqui. Faz sentido isso aqui? Ah, faz! Azul com amarelo é verde. E aí, vermelho com verde, suponho que é marrom, porque verde com branco é verde claro.
That's the one.
Ok.
Hey, not bad. Did the door open? What's in there?
Ih! Papel amassado. Um pedaço de papel rasgado e amassado numa bola. Dentro há pétalas de rosas vermelhas. Uma mensagem está irritadamente escrita no papel. Agora eu pego ela. Xiii.
A little tea set. Looks recently used.
One of the cups has tea in it.
What's in the other one?
Birdseed.
Nossa.
Traveling cases.
Empty. All of them.
Traveling cases.
Empty. All of them.
Ever get the feeling you're being watched?
The mannequins don't have eyes, though.
That's not a comforting sentence. Ever get the feeling you're being
The mannequins.
That's not.
A little bedtime reading?
Let's see. Romance novels, detective novels, and
What?
this one appears to be both.
Nice.
Esses quadros de
That
pássaro no
bit.
fundo.
It's like something from a fairy tale.
Does it feel warm over here, or is it just me?
No, you're right. Maybe the bed has some kind of heater.
It's not coming from the bed. It's coming from the wall.
Exatamente o que eu queria investigar. E esse espaço vazio aqui no meio. Vamos na última sala.
You know, I've always wanted one of those.
A mechanical solar system? What would you do with it?
I would look at it.
Justo.
Wait a minute. Earth in the middle, sun on the outside. How old is this thing?
Rode os 5 planetas, o Sol e a Lua em volta do meio. Ah, pera. Interessante. Ah, isso aqui também ilumina. Ok. Quase. Calma. Caralho, perfeito, fácil, easy.
That's the one.
Hey, not bad. Did you hear that? Something unlocked.
There's a little hatch underneath? What's in there?
A bunch of paper. Looks like somebody's research.
O besouro dourado. Várias anotações e diagramas de pesquisa. 4. O besouro dourado, assim chamado por seu exoesqueleto composto por um mineral 90% similar a ouro, vive vários anos. Ele se defende de predadores com um silvo alto, a relatos de mais de 95 decibéis, e sendo completamente não digerível. Esse místido tem uma reputação um tanto falaciosa de causar má sorte àqueles que o veem. Que é um silvo alto? Que é um silvo? Silvo. O que é um silvo? Som agudo e estrídulo do apito de uma máquina de a vapor. E eles relataram que ouviram um som alto e estranho, que não era nenhum grito, nem algo reconhecível.
A bell jar.
What do people normally keep in bell jars?
Other than bells, you mean? A spyglass to the stars.
They're in very good condition. What is it?
Ah, it's clearly some kind of large device.
You're not wrong.
It's tidier than my desk. The notebook is untouched. It's completely blank.
So, even the most well-used notebooks start off blank.
It's tidier than the notebook.
So, even the most well-used notebook.
Ok.
Pretty.
It's too cloudy to see any stars right now.
It's also daytime.
Shh, listen. Do you hear them? The stars. They're whispering. So quiet. and yet so loud.
What are they whispering about? Are they spreading rumors about us?
I shouldn't think they concern themselves with such insignificance. We are but specks of dust, you and I.
Mm-hmm. Could this speck of dust start by telling me his name?
You find yourself standing in the astronomy tower of one Professor Percival Pointer.
Seems like this tower belongs to the Pointers, and the other one belongs to the Fellows.
Well observed, my dear. Tangle Tower is something of a duality, as it happens. Meaningless boundaries, really. They exist only in our minds.
Helpful.
Me? Not much to say. Strictly speaking, I'm the current head of the Pointer family. And of course, father to my precious Poppy.
And a professional astronomer?
Oh no, that's just a little hobby. I mean, yes, I've studied the stars for over 35 years, published 17 books.
Just a little hobby.
Só hobby.
Sounds like you're quite well known. You must bring in a good amount of money.
Oh dear me, no. My field of research has never yielded any kind of stable financial return, nor would I expect it to. I am nothing but a humble interpreter for the cosmos, working to translate its message so that I may share it with the world.
Cool. Tell the Cosmos I say hi.
The day began as any other, with blissful, unremarkable routine. I took my usual morning walk around the gardens. Fresh air does wonders for the mind.
Did you see anyone else?
Penelope and Fitz were in the greenhouse together. I didn't bother them, of course. I sat for a while besides the pond in the garden. It's a favorite spot of mine. Eventually, I returned to my tower and buried myself in my studies for the afternoon.
Did you use your telescope yesterday?
Once the stars began to appear, naturally.
For how long?
I can't say. I've been known to lose hours at my telescope.
Did you see anything?
No actual discoveries, if that's what you mean.
So you were all alone up in the astronomy tower. Must have been a while before you found out what had happened to Freya.
Quite. Normally, I would be the last to find out about such a thing. But a curious tug of fate led me towards the fellow tower later that evening. I was at my telescope for the majority of the evening, but at one point I returned to my desk to look something up in a reference book. I couldn't find the book I wanted, so I figured Fiona must have borrowed it. I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall. I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library. She looked impatient and slightly frustrated.
Same as ever, then?
Quite. I passed her by and went upstairs to Fiona's room. The door was locked, but I could hear shouting coming from inside. I recognized Fiona's voice as well as the voice of my own daughter. I had no desire to invade their privacy by eavesdropping, so I waited for them to finish and come out into the hall. Before I could ask about the book, Poppy grabbed my hand and took me upstairs along with Fiona. It was apparent that both of them had already been crying about something. We went up to Flora's tower. Freya was laying on her back, right in the middle of the room. Flora and Fitz were already there. They both looked stoic as ever. Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did, and then Fiona went downstairs with Poppy for some reason. I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
Why did you leave so quickly? Wasn't there anything you could have done to help?
Don't take this the wrong way, but the whole ordeal is fellow family business. I'm quite sure they don't need me getting in the way at a time like that.
Isso é todo
A
mundo.
listless soul drifting through the ether.
What's wrong with her?
Not sure. She's always been troubled. Comes from a dysfunctional family. I'd say you could ask her about it, but I think you might find that to be a bit of a dead end. He should learn to make the most of his lot in life. And he does have a lot in life.
You're talking about money?
Among other things, but yes, he currently has agency over a small fortune. That is, if he hasn't already squandered it or lost it.
You two don't get on?
Oh no, we're the best of friends. Ah, yes, the heiress of Tangle Tower. Goodness knows what'll happen when she takes charge. I dare say she'll confiscate my telescope and replace it with a microscope.
She doesn't seem to be the type to impress her will on others.
Still, keep an eye on her. Dangerously intelligent, that one.
You sound jealous. Wait, are you two science rivals?
Oh no, we operate on very different wavelengths. Literally. Hard to read, that one, but she seems to know what she's doing.
She's kind of mean.
You know, I simply assumed all detectives were sharp, rigorous, and thorough. Then, of course, I met you. Nobody could deny her talent. She was remarkable, artistically gifted, but also highly intelligent.
Those two things aren't mutually exclusive, you know.
Was she ever interested in astronomy?
I don't think she was. The fault may well lie with me for failing to inspire her. But I think she was captivated by more tangible things here on Earth. My daughter loved her. Fiona, too. That said, in the last year or so, more and more I've begun to notice her by herself, wandering the gardens at the most peculiar hours. She must have explored every inch of the grounds 100 times over. Quite a restless spirit, I think. I'm surprised she chose to live at Tangle Tower as long as she did. What do you want me to say? He's the gardener.
He's a member of the family.
Yeah, but not the Pointer family.
What happened to his parents, do you know?
His father, Flint, is Felix's brother. Strange man. Don't think anybody knows what happened to him, but he certainly doesn't live here anymore.
What about his mother?
Emily? I've not met her. She never actually married into the fellow family. Her relationship with Flint was, it was short-lived. My Poppy, my pride and joy. Exceptionally talented pianist from a young age. Hold on. Why is she on your list of suspects?
Because she's a suspect.
Oh no, I can personally vouch for her innocence. She'd never... Well, the truth is, she loved Freya very dearly.
If you don't mind me asking, what happened to Poppy's mother?
Primrose? She was Flora's sister, a Remington by birth. The playing field has never really been even since she left.
Where did she go?
Away. She went away. Ah, Penelope, our resident ornithologist.
Penny's your niece, is that right?
At this moment in time. Until she marries the gardener.
She'll still be your niece.
But she'll depart from the world of the Pointers and join the Fellows. Like rats deserting a sinking ship. I don't especially want to talk about myself. Introspection often leads to vanity.
Wait, does it?
Why don't we discuss the moons of Jupiter instead?
I'm not sure if we have time. Aren't there like 10 of them?
83.
Yeah, we don't have time. So,
Vamos
which one is
começar.
Tangle Tower?
What's that?
There are two towers, right? Flora's tower and your astronomy tower.
Neither? Truly, I have no idea. You'd have to ask Flora.
She named the house?
The whole thing is a result of her squabbling with her family.
With Felix, you mean? Her husband?
No, her brother and sister, and her father. The Remington family was a rather tumultuous little unit, you see. I don't think Flora has spoken with any of them in over a decade.
Eu não seria difícil acreditar que ela não falou com ninguém por mais de década.
Not exactly a wealth of information, is it?
It's enough.
A very old statue indeed. I'd recommend you leave it well alone. The poor fellow's in bad enough shape as it is. Isn't the process of decay fascinating?
It's not really decaying. It's plastic.
It's becoming one with nature, all the same. Where on earth did you find that?
It was in a bush outside. I think someone threw it away.
How peculiar. I find that painting to be in rather bad taste.
Oh, yeah?
The knife with real blood on it? The whole thing is rather vulgar. What's this?
It looks like it might be a telescope. Thought you might know something about it.
Well, it certainly is a telescope. It has a part there to screw onto a tripod, you see. It's rather small, though. I'm not sure you could see many stars with it.
No, probably not.
Fitz seems rather keen to grow things like this in his greenhouse, doesn't he?
What's wrong with that?
Well, you can't eat it. Makes you wonder why he bothers at all. This is supposed to be Felix, is it?
I think so.
I see he's afforded himself considerable artistic license. This looks a little rushed, even by Felix's standards.
At least he tried.
Yes, I suppose it's good for the old fellow to have a hobby. Keeps his mind from decaying, you know. Freya was well acquainted with the abstract, I'll say that much.
What does it look like to you?
To me, it's a big, red thing.
What a fascinating interpretation.
He's right, though. It is a big red thing.
Poppy's two closest friends. Freya looks so innocent there. That's a very old book, isn't it? Looks like someone could have taken better care of it.
I like the look of a well-read book. Better than one that's never been opened.
Ah, well put. A diary can be a wonderful outlet for an outpouring of one's soul.
How do you know it's a diary?
I suppose I don't, but it does look like a diary.
Yes.
Curious creature, isn't it? Some sort of amphibious bipedal fish man.
Playing a trumpet.
Playing a trumpet, yes. What a precious photograph. She hasn't changed a bit, has she?
No.
Oh, if you don't know, perhaps I don't either. I think you may wish to adjust your threshold of what you consider to be a clue. I've seen those earmuffs before. They're the ones Fitz always wears when he's out the front gardening.
Always wears?
Whenever I've seen him, yes. What kind of flower is that?
We're not sure. I think it might be the only one of its kind.
Primrose would know. My wife was a floriculturalist. Best in the field. That's a flower joke, but she was.
Interesting.
Well now, that is most definitely none of my business. Quite possibly none of yours either.
Como assim? Literalmente, praticamente, com uma confissão de assassinato, só faltou uma assinatura.
So, we found some research. What's up with this golden beetle? Is this something you're studying?
I can't help you, I'm afraid. I think it must be something left behind by a previous inhabitant of Tangle Tower. I'm not the first scientist to ever walk these halls, you know.
Well, it wasn't in the halls. It was in your astronomy tower.
E é isso.
There's something about Hawkshaw's handheld microscope. Something.
Pois é, suspeito. Ele falou que usou esse telescópio, que né, duas pessoas disseram que é o telescópio, e o Hawkshaw disse que usou pra verificar coisas de perto, como se fosse um microscópio. O que não faz sentido. Mas bom,
Let's ask her about it.
mais tarde, porque agora...
That's all the statements.
Let's go over them all.
Vamos? Vamos no próximo episódio. Por 2 prompts pra fazer coisa, mas bom. Já acho que deu esse episódio. Vimos, conhecemos todo mundo, exploramos todos os lugares, resolvemos uns puzzles no meio do caminho. Eu lembro de gostar muito dos puzzles desse jogo. E são bons, realmente. Nossa, esse jogo é muito bom visualmente. E a dublagem também é muito boa. Tipo, você compara isso com o primeiro jogo da série, velho, é uma baita de uma evolução. É muito bom. É muito surpreendente. A qualidade é incrível. Os designs dos personagens são tão únicos. A maioria, pelo menos, tipo, né, tem uns que são mais normalzinhos, mas ainda assim, tipo, eles são muito distintos. É muito legal, é muito legal. É isso aí. 3 horas de episódio já, quase. Tá na hora de acabar. Obrigado por assistir. Espero que você tenha gostado. E a gente se vê no próximo episódio. Falou!